Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going on a seriously incredible journey. We're going to trace the path of a single microscopic photon of light from the exact split second it strikes the surface of the human eye all the way into the deep neural networks of the mind. I mean, vision is something most of us use every single day, right? Yet the biological machinery making it all possible is nothing short of miraculous. Okay, let's dive into this. Before we start tracking that photon, I want you to just wrap your head around a massive number, 100 trillion. That is the estimated number of synapses inside an adult human brain, processing all the signals from our eyes and the rest of our body. To put the sheer scale of human biology into perspective for a second, the largest artificial neural networks developed by tech giants like NVIDIA and Microsoft in 2023 boast around 530 billion parameters. Our biological hardware has over 100 trillion. We are literally walking, talking supercomputers, and the eye is our primary data input device.
Section 1. The ultimate biological camera.
To really grasp how this input device works, we kind of need to reframe how we think about the human eye. We're going to look at it not just as a squishy biological organ, but as the ultimate piece of precision technology. If you're at all familiar with how a camera works, you basically already understand the foundational engineering of the human eye. It's incredibly analogous. Both systems utilize a lens to focus incoming light. Where a camera uses a mechanical aperture to dial in the exact amount of light allowed through, the human eye has a dynamic pupil. And right at the back of a camera, you have a digital image sensor capturing all that light data. Well, in our biological camera, that sensor is the retina. By grounding these complex biological terms in everyday camera mechanics, the structural breakdown we're about to do becomes so much easier to visualize. Section 2. Anatomy of the eye. So let's follow our photon. Our little particle of light is approaching the eye at 186,000 miles per second. What are the specific anatomical checkpoints it has to successfully pass through? Now, what's really interesting to visualize here are these distinct, highly specialized layers working in perfect harmony. It maps out the exact gauntlet our photon has to run. From the outside world, passing through the front window, all the way back into the deep spherical structure of the eyeball. It's a perfectly organized funnel designed to capture and focus light. Let's break down that rapid flight. First up, the photon smashes into the cornea, which is the clear outer layer that immediately gets to work transmitting and sharpening the light. Next, it passes right through the pupil. That's the dark hole whose size is rapidly adjusted by the colorful muscles of the iris, making sure just the right amount of light enters. Immediately behind that, the photon passes through the flexible lens. Now this lens is constant. Section 3. The retina. Capturing light. So, having cleared all those physical hurdles, our photon finally reaches the ultimate boundary layer at the very back of the eye. This is the retina, the highly sensitive film of our biological camera. When you look at the retinal wall, there's a specific region called the macula, acting as the center for detailed vision. But right inside the macula is something even more impressive. It's a tiny, pitted indentation known as the fovea. This fovea is microscopic, only about 0.35 millimeters across. Yet it is almost entirely responsible for the high-definition, sharp, vibrant color vision you're using right now to read text or recognize a friend's face. Now, upon hitting the retina, something basically miraculous has to happen. The physical energy of the photon has to be converted into biochemical messages. This core concept is called transduction. Without transduction, light literally means nothing to the brain. And here's a fascinating bonus fact for you about the retina. Aside from basic vision, it also contains special cells that detect ambient light levels to help regulate your circadian rhythm. That is exactly why stepping outside to expose your eyes to bright morning sunlight is the absolute best way to beat jet lag. Section 4. Rods, cones, and color. But getting back to our photon, when it impacts the retina, what exactly is catching it? Well, it's going to hit one of two highly specialized microscopic catcher's mitts, our photoreceptor cells. These photoreceptors are divided into rods and cones, and they have very, very different jobs. On one hand, you have this massive army of about 90 million rods. Rods operate mostly in low light, which we call scotopic or night vision. They are incredibly sensitive, but they only see in black, white, and shades of gray. On the other hand, you have a much smaller, highly concentrated elite force of about 5 million cones. Cones require bright daytime light to function, but they're the ones giving you that rich, high-definition photopic color vision, and they are densely packed right in that tiny fovea we talked about earlier. Section 5. A backwards biological design. I actually want to pause our photon's active journey for just a second because there's a brilliantly mind-bending quirk about the cellular architecture we just uncovered. It brings up a huge question that has puzzled biology students for years. Why are our eyes seemingly wired completely backwards? You see, the light entering the eye actually has to travel entirely through multiple thick layers of other specialized cells and neurons before it finally reaches the light-detecting rods and cones parked at the very back of the line. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how counterintuitive this back-to-front design is. Notice how the incoming light has to travel all the way down to the bottom to even hit the photoreceptors. Once those receptors finally catch the photon, the resulting electrical signals have to travel back in the exact opposite direction, from the bottom back up to the top, just to reach the optic nerve fibers. From a pure engineering standpoint, it kind of looks like a design flaw, right? But of course, biology always has its reasons. So the crucial point here is that this backward layout is actually an absolute evolutionary marvel. First off, rods and cones can be heavily damaged by ultraviolet rays. Burying them at the very back offers vital UV protection. Second, being pressed against the back wall allows them to be directly and easily supplied with massive amounts of required oxygen and nutrients from the surrounding blood vessels. Third, these photoreceptors are constantly developing, growing, and shedding. Being at the back facilitates this continuous cellular regeneration perfectly. And finally, that same access to the back wall allows for the highly efficient removal of cellular waste and dead receptors. So it's not a flaw at all, it's a perfectly engineered survival mechanism.
Section 6. Transmitting neural signals.
All right, now that we've got the layout down, let's move to the final stage of our explainer. The photon's been caught, the energy is transduced, and now that electrical signal has to be optimized and beamed straight to the brain. But before the signal even leaves the eye, it gets polished. As the electrical impulse moves forward from the rods and cones, it passes through intermediary cells called horizontal and amacrine cells. You can think of these essentially as biological image editors. Horizontal cells will actually release inhibitory neurotransmitters to quiet down neighboring receptors, which drastically improves the contrast between light and dark and sharpens the edges of the objects you're looking at. Meanwhile, amacrine cells are identifying motion and further refining all that color data. All of these beautifully processed, highly refined signals are then handed right off to the final output layer, the ganglion cells. You can clearly see how all the cellular connections funnel directly into them. A typical human eye has between 0.7 to 1.5 million ganglion cells. They act like a funnel, collecting millions of data points from the rods and cones, bundling them all together, and feeding them straight into the optic nerve fibers that run out of the eye. But how do these cells actually pass the message to one another? Well, I want to prepare you for the astonishing microscopic scale of neural transmission here. When a signal jumps from one neuron to the next, it crosses a tiny gap called a synaptic cleft. This gap is just 20 to 30 nanometers wide. To put that into perspective, that is roughly 4,000 times thinner than a single strand of human hair. No way, right? Let's move to how this builds into a fully actionable signal in a really simple four-step sequence. First, an electrical nerve impulse, called an action potential, travels down a neuron and triggers the release of chemical messengers known as neurotransmitters. Second, these chemical messengers launch across that impossibly tiny 20-nanometer synaptic cleft. Third, the transmitters successfully bind to receiving receptors on the dendrite of the next cell in line. And fourth, this binding changes the voltage on the receiving side, creating an excitatory postsynaptic potential. This prompts the new cell to fire its own electrical signal. This chain reaction repeats over and over until the visual data hits the brain's visual cortex. So all those signals finally leave the eye via the optic nerve. But here is one last, completely mind-blowing detail for you. Because that massive bundle of nerves has to pierce straight through the retina to exit the eye, there's a distinct hole where absolutely zero photoreceptors exist. You literally have a physical blind spot in each eye. Yet, when you look around the room right now, you don't see two black holes hovering in your vision, do you? Your brain takes the visual data it does have, analyzes the context of your surroundings, and secretly interpolates, or paints in, the missing reality seamlessly in real time. It really begs the question, what else is your brain quietly editing for you right this very second? Thank you so much for exploring the incredibly fascinating anatomy of vision with me today.